Hello, everybody, and welcome back to TechZulu live from South by Southwest Interactive. I'm your host, Amanda Coulong, and I am now joined by WeFunder's Mike Norman. Thank you for joining us today.
It's great to be here. Thanks.
So what has South by Southwest been like for you this year?
So South by has been really amazing. I mean, I love this event so much.
Where is your energy coming from? This is amazing right now.
You know, we're pushing through. We've got a few days left, so you gotta finish strong. And I don't know. I mean, every year, you know, when you come here, so many friends that you've met, you know, along the way. It's kind of like this mecca where people get together across different swaths of life. I saw a friend of mine I hadn't seen since high school, you know, on the way to an event the other night, and it's just been great to reconnect with folks, meet different new entrepreneurs, and see the new stuff that's happening in technology.
Is there anything that has stood out for you here at the show this year?
I mean, honestly, it's really just relationships, right? It's the people and the exciting things that I hear that folks are working on, getting caught up on different ideas and exposed to all the different technology that's happening out there has really been the highlight of the event for me.
I had an interesting conversation the other day with someone who was saying it's not so much networking in the traditional sense, it's more that people come to South by for a shared experience. And it's sort of like a spring break, it's sort of like a reunion. Would you agree with that?
Absolutely. I love the idea of a reunion. Again, people that you've seen throughout your life, and they all come together in one place, and being able to see folks' products that you really like. Like I was at the Boosted Boards tent, you know, the other day, and actually being able to get on the board and ride it for the first time, you know, having seen the video and being excited about the product and then getting to try it out myself was great.
Any other highlights so far? Just craziness? Or I was trying to explain to people that we had a pedicab adventure the other night with a massive banner like this rolled up, sticking out of the back of it. We went running through the rain to get back to the hotel. We were drenched after one block. Like, shared experiences.
Yeah, I mean, we had a blast at the TechStars party on Saturday night, and one of my co-founders actually, you know, flipped his laptop open and was writing code while I was gigging out to the DJ, and it was just kind of one of those things that you never expect to happen, and there it is.
Writing code, kicking back to the DJ. I love it. So we should probably talk a little bit about the company. Yeah. So WeFunder, what is it all about?
So we're a crowd investing platform, and we're providing every American with the opportunity to invest in startups that they really care about and want to help succeed.
Okay. How does that work?
So, I mean, you can think about it like Kickstarter, except that you are actually getting equity in a company. So you're making an investment in, you know, could be the next Facebook or Boosted Boards, you know. I feel like so many of us, especially that are here at South by, are really passionate about technology and know a lot about, you know, a specific vertical or a specific, you know, industry that we work in. We might not be millionaires, and so in most cases we're not allowed to invest right now. But the laws are changing, and, you know, within a year, everyone's going to have an opportunity to make those investments, and we're there to provide the ability for people to do that on the internet.
That is so cool. Like, just opening up the opportunity to anyone. Explain to people who don't necessarily follow it what's going on with this thing called crowdfunding.
Yeah, so folks may have heard of something called the Jobs Act, which was passed April 5th of last year. My co-founders and I actually helped write the law. We were at the White House when the president signed it into law. And what this does is it changes the laws around who's allowed to invest in privately held companies. So right now, you actually have to have either $1 million in net worth or make at least $200,000 a year to, in most cases, legally invest in startups. That law changed all of that. Now, the SEC is going through this rulemaking period, and hopefully over the course of the next couple of months, we're actually going to get the rules that will really bring that law into practice. But, you know, so many of us who have always wanted to invest in startups and never had had the opportunity to in the past are now going to be able to, you know, open up our checkbook and say, okay, here's $1,000 or here's $500. You know, amounts of money that can be meaningful for us as investors and really, you know, help us get in the game and help the startup succeed.
I mean, I love the idea of just leveling the playing field so everyone can benefit, everyone can take part. Why do you think that law existed in the first place? I mean, let's wax philosophical for a minute.
Well, the law was written way back in the 1930s, and so we didn't have the internet. We didn't have ways of people actually knowing who the companies that were asking for money are. You know, are these founders legit? You know, is this company actually exists? So when the laws were written, they probably made sense, but that was 80 years ago, right? And so much has changed that we now have the ability to do background checks and look at social networks, get a feel for who entrepreneurs are, and really feel comfortable making an investment in something that we think has a chance to succeed.
What do you want to be investing in?
I mean, so many different things. Like I was saying, the boosted boards guys that I was meeting with the other day, like getting on that board, being able to reduce the commute from where I live in Boston, from my apartment building to the T, which is a 15-minute walk, to be able to do that in 4 minutes on a board. Right. It just completely changes the ability to get around in urban areas. So something like that, I would love to invest in. There's a company coming out of Y Combinator in this batch called Gold Belly, which is amazing. They let you send really personal foods from the best restaurants and local regional places around the country to as gifts to people, right? So Austin has such amazing food. You only get to come here for me when you come for South by Southwest, to be able to find the restaurant that had the best set of ribs and send that as a gift to someone that you also knew was here and you had that shared reunion-like experience with. That's just amazing.
As we move forward, how much money are we talking about for individuals? Is it like a Kickstarter where someone can contribute $5, $20, $100, or is there a minimum of, say, $1,000?
So for us on WeFunder, there will be a minimum of $100 that you'll have to put in, but the specific company itself can choose if they want to make that higher. Okay. And the law actually caps the amount an individual can invest per year across a number of startups. So depending on your income, you'll be able to invest either $2,000, $10,000, or $100,000 a year in startups. And
what are we looking at in terms of the equity piece?
So it'll depend. It's just like making any investment. It'll be the terms that the entrepreneur, has put up there. We do a lot of work to make sure that they're fair terms, so that they get in front of the wider, community of potential investors. Folks that don't have as much experience can feel confident that okay, these are reasonable terms.
It's going to be interesting to see how many service providers come out of this movement, because with the Kickstarters and the Indiegogos of the world, you had a lot of people that started coming out saying, here's how to do a successful campaign. So I wonder if likewise it will happen around all of this as well.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's a lot of lessons to be learned from Kickstarter and Indiegogo about how to do one of these campaigns, and a lot of that will transfer over to crowd investing. It's going to be different, since a large part of what you're evaluating is kind of the potential profitability and the long-term returns. So there's going to be a separate component to it, but the storytelling piece that we've seen done so well on Kickstarter is definitely going to be a big piece of this.
Now, you helped write the act, so you clearly have a background in this stuff. Do you want to talk about sort of where you came from and why WeFunder matters so much to you?
Yeah, well, I mean, all of us on the founding team have done startups beforehand, and we really got involved in the legislative process because we didn't feel like the entrepreneurship community, the startup community, was at the table really informing the senators when they were writing the bill. So we launched a petition, really just to say, look, there's some real issues with the legislation that we see out there. We think that these things should be included, and there's the rest of the startup communities behind us. Let's make our voice heard. And we got a ton of traction. Thousands of people signing the petition over a few days, pledging to invest millions of dollars in startups if they were allowed to. And that brought us down to D.C., meeting with the senators and the White House and helping write the legislation. So, it's one of these true examples where democracy actually worked, right? And the people had a voice at the table and really helped write better laws. So it was an amazing experience.
Awesome. I'm just so excited to see what sort of innovations happen when more people can invest in them.
Absolutely, right. And more people spread geographically over a wider footprint. So we'll see. It'll be much easier for entrepreneurs to get off the ground, in cities that aren't, so Austin or Silicon Valley or New York, and they'll have access to capital in their own cities.
Awesome. Now, what's WeFunder is at what stage then? You're waiting for the final piece of the legislation to happen. You're based in Boston. What's next?
Yeah. So we're live right now. You can go and see kind of what profiles of companies that profiles will look like of the companies that we ultimately invest in. And you can sign up on WeFunder to be notified once kind of opportunities to invest are actually out there. You can do that right now. Like you said, we're kind of waiting for these rules to come through for the SEC over the course of the next couple of months, and then we'll really be able to go big with it. So.
Well, everybody, I think it's pretty important that you stay on top of what's going on with this, because WeFunder, you can actually invest in startups yourself. So everybody that watches TechZulu likes startups, likes innovation, so check out WeFunder.
Yeah, I mean, all the companies that you guys profile one day could have a link and say, oh, we're raising money. If you believe in what we're doing, click here.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us, Mike.
Thank you.
And make sure that you check out WeFunder. I'm Amanda Coulong here at South by Southwest.